Hey, what's up guys? John here. I am in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And I'm going to be traveling around Mexico for the next month, maybe longer, just enjoying myself. Mainly because we're going to see a big crash come. I mean, an epic crash come. And I'm just waiting for that crash. So I'm just going to enjoy my life while we still can. Because what I think is going to happen is we're going to have more restrictions come, especially now that this announcement came out saying that we are going to have at least another 18 months more of this. I mean, they came out and said it, and they said that there's no way that we're going to be able to reduce the risk to zero. We can only minimize the risk. So what does that mean, minimize the risk? That means that we are very likely to see a situation where Big Brother needs to intervene to minimize the risk. So how can they intervene? Well, they have to toy with our freedoms, our rights, what we can, what we can't do, the economy, business, and consumer spending. So they're gonna really have a tight grip on all of that. So this whole thing over the last 18 months that we've seen in the stock market, this big boom that we've seen, is mainly based around the notion that the economy is going to recover and that things are going to get back on track and we're going to go back to the old normal. Well, no, this is not happening. Now we're going to see, I believe, we're going to start to see the correction. This correction is going to be unlike anything that we've ever seen. I think we're going to go through the first phase, which is, okay, maybe the market and the economy not doing as good as we once expected, and so prices are going to come down. But what I think is interesting is that we look at Mark Zuckerberg, we look at Amazon's Jeff Bezos, we look at Google founders, we look at all of these big tech giants, these world leaders now, which is now what they are. They're selling stock. Zuckerberg was selling shares every single day in 2021. Every single day. So what does that mean? That means that he believes that his shares are worth more today than they will be tomorrow. Maybe because he's forecasting a big crash. Maybe he's forecasting something. I wouldn't sell something if I thought that the price is going to be worth more tomorrow. I would hold it. But that's what they're doing. They're selling. And I believe what's going to happen is we're going to go through this period, which is, we're in such a fascinating time in the world. Imagine this. You have an apartment building, you can't collect rent depending on where you live. Most places, you can't charge rent or collect, or you really even evict them. You can charge it, but you can't evict them. Student loans, a lot of them are now getting, Biden's trying to waive some. You don't have to pay them right now. With your mortgage, you can just go on forbearance. I mean, all this is being taken into consideration. And with any of this taken out of consideration, the market would have dumped. It would have crashed. 1 in 5 renters not paying rent right now. 1 out of 5 renters are not paying rent. But what I think is going to be really fascinating that we're all going to be walking into is this whole new safety situation. Everything is about safety. This whole safety situation is going to reduce so many jobs to a level to where the middle class and a lot of the working class communities are going to start getting wiped out with these ghost kitchens, with robotics. I mean, I'm seeing these ads every day on my Facebook of like Miso Robotics and all these companies bringing out all this new technology to get rid of the fast food worker. And what's going to happen? Look at car washes. Look at laundromats with Gavin Newsom talking about, we need to preserve water. We have all these things that are going to be coming out, whether it be from carbon or whether it be through the pandemic, whatever it may be. Everything is based around changing the way that we live, the way that we operate, how we spend money, what businesses are essential, which ones are not essential, which ones are good for the world, which ones are not good for the world. All this is happening right now. So when we're looking at this stock market, we're seeing this like parabolic move north. How can this remain true in this new world that we're stepping into? It just can't. That's why I think that smart money is getting ready for the biggest opportunity. Probably the biggest opportunity to buy ever is going to be coming in front of us. It's not behind us. Michael Burry, he's been talking about this crash for a while, and Yahoo News, a lot of these big companies are bashing him, saying that he went down the rabbit hole and he lost his credibility. But who honestly could have predicted that the government would just print so much money and make all bills essentially optional? I mean, If they didn't do that, then we would have seen the truth, and Michael Burry would have been correct with the mother of all crashes and the epic crash. But they're doing this. So now the real thing is they don't really have many tools left. Interest rates are zero. They can keep printing these welfare payments, which they're doing for Americans. That's really pretty much it. Like there's not too much more that they can do. And when they run into this now big situation, which could be like a hyperinflation or massive inflation, it's going to hurt the middle class if the cost of goods and services are a lot more money and people are making less money. So people on fixed incomes, retirees, all these people that, if they're making $2,000 a month on their fixed incomes and now the cost of goods, services, and food is now 10, 15, 20% higher, that's going to mean something. They're no longer going to be able to afford what they were able to afford in the past. But then, there's also this other idea that I have. Imagine this, maybe what they really want, when I say they, Big Brother, is ultimate and absolute control. And so if that is the case, and this is just the theory that I have, if that is the case and what they really want to do is have absolute control, then how would they do that? Well, they need to get people under their control. So how would they do it? Well, one great way would be to have a booming economy where everyone's invested in stocks and everyone's invested, think everything's going to keep going up. Then they crash it, and then at that point, then they bring out some new system to where people need handouts. And then when they need handouts, they're no longer an individual with freedom. They're basically state property. And that's an idea that I have. I wonder if it'll come true. We're going to look back on this and say, like, hey, maybe John was right. Maybe he was right. But that's what I think. I think that this all could be, I think this could all be a setup. But we'll see. We're going to see how this all unfolds. But for me right now, I'm traveling in Mexico. I'm going to do this. I think that we're likely going to probably see more closures coming back to America. I made this prediction with a couple of friends of mine. They're like, oh no, you're crazy. But they're traveling right now, and where they are, they're talking about more and more and more restrictions where they are. So apparently it's not so crazy. In Greece, for example, it's getting bad. France, Australia, it's getting bad. I mean, we'd have to be delusional to say that that's probably not going to come here, and then we're not going to have that type of situation here. And if that is what happens here, then I think the next level of restrictions will be much greater than the first level, meaning that small businesses are just going to get decimated. And then I ask yourself, okay, small business gets decimated, and if cost of goods goes up and minimum wages and all the actual costs go up, then the rent on those buildings have to go down because the business owners are making less money because if they can't afford it, why would they lease the space? And that's going to be universal. So retail real estate is probably going to get hit really hard. Multifamily real estate is, depending on which segment and which market you're investing in, there's going to be some big problems we're going to be stepping into. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this whole thing really kind of pans out. It's kind of a fascinating point in this world. But I look at Microsoft and all these large companies, all their founders are just liquidating everything. And then we get all of our information from their platforms. So you ask yourself, we get all of the information from these people, and these people are all selling. That says something to me. It says I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to travel around Mexico. I'm going to read as much as I can, meet cool people, eat great food, and enjoy life while we can, because I think that travel and all this stuff could be something that maybe a thing of the past. We might not be able to travel like we once did in the past in the future. So I'm going to live my life now and enjoy it. But I'm curious, what do you guys think of what's going on with this, with the stock market, with the economy, with everything? But I think that we're going to see, something massive happen, like huge. And I think cryptocurrency, there's so many cryptos out there that I think are going to go to zero. I think they're going to go just to zero. And I think Bitcoin and a lot of these ones that actually have utility will probably survive for a long time or a while, but because they have utility. But I think most of the other ones will not. And I think that in a massive crash, I think people sell Bitcoin. A lot of new investors, new money, people that have $100, $500 in there, people even with more, they're going to start selling Bitcoin, and the smart money is going to roll out there and start investing in it and assuming and really building out a large portfolio in cryptocurrencies. And because that's what they do. That's what the elite do, is they seize opportunities. So we'll see where this all goes, but just such a fascinating time to be an investor and a fascinating time for all of us to be alive. You appreciate this, enjoy it, and yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It really is incredible. So consider subscribing here, and consider subscribing to my second channel. Please smash that like button also. And yeah, I'm in the process right now of trying to buy an airplane. I'm talking about that on my my other channel. And yeah, me kind of like preparing for what I think is to happen. It's going to be a lot more on my other channel. So I'll leave the links down below. Consider subscribing here and over there. Smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.